tell us a little bit about aerial yoga. You know, how is it different from traditional yoga that many of us are familiar with? We lie on a mat, get into various poses of one sort or another. Here we're suspended.
We are suspended. So basically we have these swings, you might call them. They're almost like hammocks that stretch out that we can use for people to be able to, on the one hand, we can hang in it. We can do inversions like you just did, where you have an opportunity to be upside down but not be taking a lot of load through your shoulders and arms. So inversions are great, many health benefits. But also we can use them to help support yoga postures we're used to doing with our feet on the floor. So it helps us to maybe open up a little bit more in ways that we might not otherwise be able to because we have support holding us from the ceiling. And we can also use it for many strengthening type moves because it moves. So we can be using the fabric in different ways to help strengthen our bodies in different ways, especially through the core and legs. And then we have these straps and that we can actually hold on to and do movements that we can be pulling against. You know, you've done some of these before where you're just kind of leaning back and using the straps to help you strengthen, perhaps through your back. We do movements where we might use the straps and the swing to help strengthen our leg movements. I think you've done some of these where you're just using the swing to help support. You have it for balance. So somebody that's working towards being able to do this without the swing has the swing to help them as they work towards it. Many yoga postures that you're used to seeing in a traditional mat class, let's take Warrior 3, you're doing without the benefit of any support, right? You're trying to move and move towards a Warrior 3. What the swings help us do is give us the opportunity to develop the strength to be able to do a Warrior 3 posture. So you can take the swing, you have a balance through the swing, you can be reaching and maybe even get into the posture a little bit more than you might be able to without the swing. We call it aerial just because that's the name that's out there. Sometimes people think that aerial means we're going to be flying all the time, but aerial just means we have suspended support.
Okay. So what's the biggest challenge a lot of people feel when they first try this? Is there one pose or one technique that gives a lot of the people trouble in the beginning, or does that vary from individual to individual?
I haven't had many people express having trouble because we adapt what we do to the people in the class.
Okay.
But the inversion for the first time, a lot of people are like, we're going to go upside down. Right. And that can be a little bit, make people tentative. Yeah. And sometimes they do it once or twice and they say either it's for them or it's not for them. But you first a couple times you did it, it was like, okay, I'm not sure if this is for me. But as you did it a couple times, you started to feel, okay, this feels better and better. Right. But for those people too, we can always, as I said, we can set the swing down low so that the legs are in the swing much like you would for traditional inversion. But we can have the shoulders resting on the ground so you're not totally upside down. You're just getting the benefits of the legs up above you where you can relax. And that's one of the cool things I think about the aerial is anytime we want to do any sort of inversion in a traditional practice, we're either against the wall where we can get some support or we're holding ourselves up. Here we can do an inversion where we don't have to worry about holding ourselves up. We can just relax, let the spine rest.
Right. So in addition to being like a physical workout where you're strengthening arms, legs, core, there's also that sort of relaxation element, I guess, involved, or at least a focus on breathing, which brings in the yoga aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about yoga, I mean, what's yoga? I mean, all of us are using the practice of yoga ultimately to find a sense of peace of mind, presence of mind. And when I say mind, I think our conscious brain and our kind of our mind body. It's finding that peace and presence through doing something that's a little bit more mindful versus mindless. So we're being mindful. We bring a internal focus to the practice, so we're not just going through motions mindlessly. And the breath becomes the vehicle that helps us come into the present moment. That's what yoga ultimately is all about. The physical practice of yoga, the asana practice, the physical practice, is just one aspect of the pathway towards finding that sense of peace and presence.
Well, so anyone who wants to kind of get inverted and see life from a different point of view,
Different
this is the right
perspective,
place to come.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. Appreciate your
Welcome, Andrew.
time.
Thanks for
All
coming on
right.
out.